Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead. Nearly 70% of Americans say animal wellness plays an important role in their purchasing decisions. But beyond the familiar free-range, pasture-raised egg labels, a technological revolution inside hatcheries is driving consumer demand toward entirely different label. Joining us today to talk about this is Jennifer Volz, business designer of Orbem. Welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for being with us here today.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start things off by having you tell us a little bit about the company and the role that you play there.
Happy to. Orbem is a company that spun off from the Technical University in Munich in the year 2019. Our background is from biomedical imaging and avian embryology, which is basically the two main components that are needed in order to make our products work. We are using MRI technology that you know from hospitals, and we're making it faster. We're completely automating it so it is accessible for industrial applications. Our first application is in the poultry industry. We call it in-ovo sexing, so basically detecting the sex of a developing chicken inside of the egg before it hatches. And the reason is, of course, why would you do that? And we're doing that because we want to avoid the culling of male chicks, which is currently the best practice in the layer industry.
So it's really considered an innovation, then, I would say, in the laying industry. Is that fair to categorize it as that?
Yeah, absolutely. In the laying industry and also in the MRI world. If you think about it, MRI machines used to be only applied in the medical field for humans, and all of a sudden it is used in industrial applications and environments, which comes with completely different requirements and specifications for the product itself.
But it's basically the same technology. It's just a new application for MRI technology.
Exactly. It looks inside of a sample, creates an image, and then either a human eye or artificial intelligence can make sense of the image data.
And you're already operating in some countries, France, Germany, Netherlands, Switzerland, and you've got some US installation underway. Is that correct? And talk to us a little bit more about what's going on here in the US.
Yeah, that's correct. We went live with our first installation in France. You're absolutely right. And then quickly expanded to other European countries. Europe is, of course, very fragmented, and every country has their own unique needs and their own industry landscape. So country by country, we've been expanding. And then you're absolutely right. 1.5 years ago, I relocated to the States and we opened our office here in Houston and Texas. We have 3 installations right now in the making. One is already live. The second one will be operational starting from August 14th. And the third one will come once the hatchery building has enough space to accommodate our machines.
So are these machines that make the most economic sense in big operations, or can any size operations utilize these machines?
It's a really good question. We have a modular solution, which means it can work already for small hatcheries that produce, let's say, around 1 million layer-day-old chicks per year. But the solution can be scaled. It's all automated so that only one operator is needed to run the whole machine. And through the modular design, we can scale up to 40 or even 50 million layers per year.
Does it require a lot of space in a facility, or a lot of rewiring, or what all goes into putting one of these units into a facility?
It is quite an effort. For the hatcheries, it's changing the way how they're used to hatch layers. The machine itself has quite a big footprint. The site requirements are not that crazy. It's standard things like electricity, cooling capacity, and even floor and so on. But most of the hatcheries, particularly in the US, they do need to extend the building quite often. The US hatcheries usually produce 20, 30, 40, 50 million females per year, which means they would need a full setup of our machine. That's 6 modules in a row. And for that, they usually have to make quite an investment to make space. But it's a one-time investment. It's in 10, maybe 15 hatcheries in the US where space needs to be created, machines need to be installed, and then the whole market in the States can be moved to cow-free.
What is this technology? What's it going to mean for the next generation of egg labeling? Are we going to see some kind of new labeling and kind of the way cage-free went a few years back?
I think it's not going to be one or the other. Already today, companies like Nest Fresh, for example, have changed their whole assortment to cow-free, and you can see on their packaging a really nice branding that they've developed. It's called Humanely Hatched, and you can find it on the packaging. With that, of course, they're evangelizing the consumers. However, when we think about the broader commodity market, and that's really where our technology is, what it is made for the commodity market, we're talking about much larger flock sizes and larger egg producers. And it seems like retailers rather want to have a quiet rollout of this new production system rather than making a big announcement. The difference between cage-free and over-sexing is that for cage-free, you have to upgrade hundreds of farms and barns in order to make it possible. But for over-sexing, it's just 10 to 15 hatcheries that actually need to be equipped. But the transition takes time. The retailers can basically just start increasing organically with the organic replacement of flocks. They can increase the proportion of cow-free eggs on the shelves, and then they can decide when is the right moment to bring to the consumer's attention what has been happening in the background.
So when we talk about humane, it really takes into account hatchability, biosecurity, scalability, all of those things it brings into under that definition of humane, would you say?
Yes, absolutely. I think when we talk about humane egg production, there's only a few challenges, a few ethical challenges left. Cage-free for sure being one of them. And the culling problem is just such a cruel practice that if you speak to people on the street and ask them, do you want to cull 300 million baby chicks every single year in the States in order to have eggs in the morning, then everybody would say, no, I don't. It's such an easy decision that's so emotionally loaded. And this is a great opportunity to solve this problem today. It's been proven in Europe that the technology works. It works for small hatcheries, it works for big hatcheries, it works for the specialty egg segment and also for the commodity egg segment. We just have to find the right way to implement it in the US supply chain.
Is it actually, does it save a hatchery? Does it save it money down the road? I mean, is a good return on that investment, would you say?
No, that's sadly not the case. It is an innovation and it is heavy, big equipment that's getting installed in hatcheries, and ultimately it is increasing the costs. Ultimately, it does bring some advantages as well. The hatchery is much closer to the whole hatching process and can streamline the way how layers are produced. There's, of course, also no more manual sorting after hatch, which cuts down personnel costs a little bit. But in comparison to the additional cost that the machinery brings, it's still more costly than the current manual process.
So maybe over time it levels out in terms of the cost, because it's a higher initial cost to install, I would imagine.
It's going to take quite some time until economies of scale are actually hitting. Just by converting the US market, it's not realistic that the cost is going to be the same or equal to the manual process. So yeah, in the end, the additional cost needs to be covered by the consumers.
Very good. Final thoughts to leave our audience with here today.
The technology is ready. It's been proven in many countries. It's already available in the US, and now it's up to us to implement the change on a large scale in the US ecosystem.
You have like a website, or where should someone, if they're interested in more information, where should they go?
Of course, please visit our website. It's orbem.ai, orbem.ai. We also have a really nice blog where we cover a lot of topics that are related to oversexing, but also our other applications. If there's any fruit fans out there, we also scan fruits, for example, watermelons, for internal defects. You can see all these beautiful MRI images. It's really fascinating when you see 3D pictures of all different kinds of fruits, eggs. Have a look around.
Have to go check that out. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much for your time here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah.
Likewise, we appreciate all of you in our audience for tuning in. Until next time, for Feedstuffs, I'm Sarah Muirhead.